Welcome to Monster Chats, presented by Monster VoIP, where we share the tools, methods, and best practices that business leaders use to build new connections, strengthen relationships, and impact sales in organizations of all shapes and sizes. If you have any questions that come up during today's episode, please text them to 424-378-6966. Please welcome the founder of Monster VoIP, your host, Colin Mitchell.
Right. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking with Michael Ray of Smile Project Louisville. Michael and I are going to be talking about spreading the love and influence attitudes and behaviors through random acts of kindness and smiles. I'm Colin Mitchell, the host of Monster Chats and the founder of Monster VoIP. The Smile Project movement evolved from the relationship he has with his nonverbal daughter, Maddie, who has Down syndrome. He's taken hundreds of photos with strangers and delivered countless smiles through the random acts of kindness in the community. He's been featured in multiple news stories on local CBS affiliate Weekly and ABC affiliate WHAS TV. Michael loves to smile and bring smiles to others because it can be hard, not easy. A smile is the same in every language and costs nothing. Be the reason that someone smiles today, as like Michael likes to say. Michael, welcome to the show. How you doing?
What's up, brother? Thanks for having me, Colin. I'm blessed to be here, my man. Thank you.
And I just, we connected on LinkedIn, I don't know, maybe a week and a half ago or something like that?
Sounds about right, yeah.
And
your math is probably better than mine.
And I just love what you're doing. I was really inspired by it and felt that we just needed to, have a conversation and share with with people what you're doing. But before we dig into what you're doing, which is kind of the most important piece, just tell us a little bit of your journey. Like tell people that are listening, your life story, and how you got into this.
So, for me, and I would tell anybody, when you're a parent, the three words that we always want to hear from our child that we take for granted a lot of times are the words, I love you. So when you're dealing with a daughter, or in that case, any child with special needs, that can't speak. She's nonverbal. So when I say nonverbal, she babbles. It's really, and I laugh at times, it's almost like she speaks the unique language or in tongues, but it's not all, you have no idea what she's saying. But again, when you don't hear those words, for me, she spoke by her expression. Mm-hmm. And we would always jokingly kind of be playful, and I'd be like, how much do you love Daddy? Do you love Daddy? And that reaction was always returned with a smile. So, as we go through life and we face at times all these challenges and these circumstances that are hard to process, for me, the one constant was always my daughter, Maddie. I could always turn to her and see love, and that love was through her expression of a smile to me. So in some form or fashion, I would say she truly saved my life. So that had gone on for years until I had a moment, and it's a moment that we all experience. We laugh now that we're not really, in a normal way of life, but yet we still on some level do some of the same things. And for me, that morning a couple of years ago was going through a drive-through, and we don't think about it, what's on the minds and hearts of strangers as we navigate our daily routines. The drive-through, the grocery store, the coffee house, again, it's endless. You can name the places, but for me, it was a drive-through at Wendy's. Mm-hmm. And it was that short interaction with a girl by the name of Chantrell that, again, would never know in that moment that again, these interactions are so short. It was 30 to 45 seconds, but she made me smile. She made me laugh. And then it's like, I literally couldn't process it well enough. I had to pull off and park. And then I had a moment where I broke down crying. And I was like, God, what in the hell are you trying to tell me here? So, but for me in that moment, it meant enough to actually want to go back and tell that stranger the impact it had on me. And I laugh about it now, but I was the creepy dude who got out of the car, let the cars pass, and I walked up to, the drive-through window. And of course, the normal reaction of anybody to drive-through, a human being walks up and not drives, and you were just there. Is, what's wrong?
Yeah.
But that was the beauty of it. It wasn't what was wrong, but what was right. And in that moment, I needed to tell her just the simplicity of thank you. That what you didn't realize, Sean Trill, is that you put something on my heart, and I can't thank you enough. Mm-hmm. So never knowing at that point, and you mentioned it earlier about taking pictures, I wanted to save the moment. And I said, would you mind taking your picture with me? So I took a picture, went home, went back to work in that moment. Of course, then trying to process everything that went on. And then a couple of days passed, and I happened to be at the gym. And kind of the same moment came over me again, but this was different because I approached a complete stranger. And then just introduced myself and then said, hey, would you mind smiling for a picture? And I think where I was and what I needed in my life and what my daughter was giving me is the social interaction of smiling with strangers, that I needed that. So after I had taken several pictures, I then really started formulating the idea of, wow, right, what am I doing? Not only am I transforming my life.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. So let's back up. Let's back up for a second. All right. So let's just take us back to that moment in the Wendy's. Give us the details, man. You got us on the edge of our seat.
What's crazy is look, if I was under oath, I could not honestly tell you.
Was it something she did, something she said?
Well, let me tell you what, and there's one amazingly, of course, Maya Angelou has so many powerful things that woman has said in her lifetime, but you will forget what people said. You will forget what they did, but you won't forget how they made you feel.
Right.
So I honestly could not even tell you what words came from her mouth, but what I do still vividly remember in my heart and my mind is how I felt.
Okay. And then at that point, did you connect that smile, that feeling with, way that you,
with Maddie?
Yeah.
No, I did not. No.
Okay.
Again, and I think that's why it took days to really kind of process what was going on and how all of a sudden in a short period of time, even though I'd been evolving for years with my daughter, how in that moment it was, in those days ahead, it was starting to really, really change my life.
Right.
So no, I have no idea other than I can still vividly in my mind see her face, remember her laugh, see that smile, and know that, look, most of us don't pull over. We roll through the drive-thru, we go about our daily, we go about our routines. But yet for me, again, if you are a person of faith, it was that moment I knew in which God was talking to me, in which I had to get out of the car, I had to do something, and then that continued to process over the next few days with another stranger, and then another stranger. And I vividly remember, the first several that I took. Mm-hmm. And I've taken, I don't know now, probably several hundred or more.
So it started with just taking pictures with strangers.
It started with just taking pictures, so that was really.
Tell us what was the reaction to this? I mean, I'm just picturing you in the gym, kind of walking around like a big teddy bear and just going up to a random guy that's probably, all jacked and like, hey, can you take a picture with me and smile?
Well,
what was the reaction?
What's funny is I've done it. If you can truly perceive anywhere and everywhere. And I kind of had formulated this really quick elevator pitch. Because again, when you're approaching a stranger, I just said, look, I'm all about smiling with strangers, really to impact and inspire people, to spread love and change attitudes and behaviors.
Man, so you created the value proposition. Just
I had to, because when you're trying to break down barriers with a diverse cross section of humanity, and then sometimes it had to be quick because literally, I would be at a stoplight. It's red, and I look over, and there are two dudes biking, and I hop out of my car, put it in park, hop out of my car and go up. And I'm like, fellas, really quick, let's hug it out and smile with Smile Project Louisville, just trying to spread love through smiles. And then we take a picture, and I'm like, have an amazing day. See ya.
And most of these people you never see again?
Most I have not. No, because again, when I say most, probably 80, 90%, the reality when you live in a community, there's some people, like if I've taken of the 300-400, I don't know, maybe a dozen at the gym. So there's some people that I would see on a regular basis. And a lot of times, I've always looked at it again from that faith perspective, is that somehow in that moment, my heart gets touched, and that's who it is. I didn't go out actively looking going, holy crap, I haven't smiled with somebody in 2 days. I got to find somebody to smile with. It was just in those moments, regardless of where I was, whether it was in the sauna.
So you don't go through smile withdrawals?
No, I actually, thankfully I don't, because I tell people, I guess anytime you start in a new journey, whether it's losing weight, eating healthy, or in my case, smiling. The smiling existed with my daughter, but the act had to be intentional at first. But as in anything, when you create change and you evolve, I don't know, this is just me. It is just so natural. So when I'm going through the course of my daily life, even now in these situations where, look, on some level, even though we're locked down, there are still handfuls. So hell, when I hit the grocery store, it's no different. Now, what's different is I'll smile, but I'm not going up to somebody and giving them a high five or giving them fist bumps or hugging it out,
Although I did see you hug it out with somebody recently. Tell us about that.
So I did. So I had found out, and I hadn't seen him now in probably almost a year, but I'm a Catholic guy, and our former parish priest, he just turned 78. But what was pretty cool is not only, did he turn 78, but he celebrated 50 years of being a priest. So I was like, holy crap, this is the perfect time to double up and just celebrate, what he's done for people in his life. So I did. So I got a giant ass drop cloth from Home Depot. And so we did the whole thing. We sung Happy Birthday, and it's Kentucky. So I brought him a bottle of bourbon, because even though he's a priest, he still loves to drink his cocktails. So I brought him some bourbon, and we had a magical moment. And he's like me, and I said, "Look, I can't leave without a hug, but let's do it safely. Are you good?" And he said, "Yes." And then I said, "Hey." I told him afterwards. I didn't want to say it on camera. I was like, I brought this giant condom to be safe. And it was just this huge drop cloth. But again, we could just briefly have this moment to what we really do on some level. And it's the foundation of what I do. And that is just express love. And of course, we can do it many different ways. But I'm a hugger. And a lot of what I've done when I've done my random acts of kindness, I'm up in people's faces. I invade your personal space. I put my arm around you. I talk about how awesome you are. And to not be able to be that close and talking about how beautiful another human being is not easy. So.
All right. So tell me when it kind of leveled up from random pictures, just smiling with people to doing these like small acts of kindness to just kind of brighten their day.
Well, it didn't hit me at first. So I had a much larger presence locally on Facebook. And early last year, as a lot of people in some form or fashion do, goes, how am I going to grow my platform? So I decided, like a lot of people, I said, okay, I'm going to give something away if they follow me. But I changed it up a little bit and tried to make it unique. And I said, okay, what I'm going to do is, if you like and share the content, I'm going to give you $100, but you have to give 50 of it away to a stranger. So it was like maybe March of last year was the first time that I saw a random act of kindness to where it happened. Sarah won, and then she gave the other 50 away. So you're in the moment, you're videoing it, and you see the human emotion and the reaction. I was like, but what's crazy is I didn't act on it then.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't act on it until late summer. It was like late July, and I literally had another moment where I got out of bed and I said, why are we not doing more random acts of kindness to make people smile?
Yeah.
It's like that moment from back then hit me.
Yeah.
And I was like, we got to find a way. If I'm all about bringing happiness, if I'm all about bringing happiness and smiles, well, then hell, let's do random acts of kindness to deliver those smiles. So like I said earlier, when we did our first handful, maybe the first 8 to 10, they were very intentional. And when I say by intentional, is that we tried to put ourselves in a position in which we could find somebody that might have need. That if we were going to go give money away to a stranger, well, let's find segments of the city that we know would have the greatest likelihood to really touch someone's heart.
Yeah.
And that's what we started doing. And we did our first one, and then we did our second one and our third one, and we were like, why haven't we been doing this all along? It was phenomenal. So then, sometimes
it's not always money, right? Because
that's correct. And that's correct. And that's what I really then started to preach to people. Look, it's not, smiles and kindness are free. You can continue. It's what Gary Vee says. Sprinkle that shit everywhere, but because that's the reality of it. So no, it was money early on, but then it just really started to shift. And that's when people started to be inspired by the videos and started to reach out and started going, hey, what can I do to get involved? They felt moved. And then it was like, God, we would love to pay it forward. We would love to give you $50. And, there's this teacher at this school, and these are the amazing things that she's doing. Or there's this mom that's battling cancer. And then all of a sudden people started reaching out and started nominating people and paying it forward and kind of following it along.
It's really beautiful how it's just kind of like morphed and continued to grow and blossom into something more than I think you probably ever imagined. From taking just pictures with strangers to doing random acts of kindness to people wanting to get involved to people now, wanting to, contribute and also nominate people that they think, need a smile.
That deserve. And it's kind of one of those things that it took me months to understand this and really come up with the phrase that we smile because life is hard.
Yeah.
We make others smile because life is hard. It's not easy, so it's sometimes, I'm not going to say, look, it's not going to always change everybody's life like it did mine, but it might change their course of their day to where maybe they have more of a positive outlook on humanity and they feel loved, and maybe they were contemplating suicide, or again, whatever they might have needed, in that moment. And then, of course, we video it to share it with the world to inspire them. Again, it's not about money. I did one just the other day where I went to a bunch of oral surgeons. They got plenty of money. It's not about money, but the fact that, his staff was working half the time, but they were still choosing to pay them full-time wages through this. And they're doing emergency oral surgery during a pandemic in which they're at great risk. And then I find out that, they've opened their hearts over the years that if people can't pay for services, they're either discounting it or writing them off, and they're not charging people. And I'm like, those people need to be recognized too for what they're doing. Within the community. So it's, and you mentioned LinkedIn early. It's amazing because I didn't really have a presence, You know, I mean, I was on LinkedIn. I wasn't an active user like so many people on there. But I had gone several months, probably into October going, and it was impressed upon me going, dude, they would love this on LinkedIn. I'm like, what do you mean? It was all really about trying to impact the community. But then as I started putting content on there, I often say this, all of the dots just started to be connected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's what you said, or you alluded to something earlier, and that is I finally started to see, wow, it's the power of one. I'm just one dude. I'm just one ordinary dude.
Do you ever just wake up and you're just like how did this get so big?
You know, I have those moments. I mean, of course I do, but not a lot. Look, I tell people sometimes it's okay to think you're awesome. It's okay to love yourself. It's not okay to think you're better than somebody else. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think that I'm blessed with that ability that now when I talk about creating a positive mindset is just things are amazingly fleeting. I love who I am. I love the change that I've started to create. But you know what? We all have that ability in us. You know, in some form or fashion, no matter how small, because it is that ripple effect and the ability to change a single life. You know, yeah. It's just what a lot of people, and the reason why in some form or fashion they don't want to do it is they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the work. You know, sometimes too it's hard, but it's insanely rewarding in the heart, but yet the level of compensation is not, you know. Mm-hmm. But when I set out on this course, I told myself, and again, this is something else my daughter has taught me, and I have an insane amount of patience. You know, and I just said to myself, you know, look, I'm going to believe in this. I'm going to be passionate about it. I'm going to put the work in. I'm going to look to change people's lives and inspire them. And then at some point, if it becomes great, things will work themselves out. Mm-hmm. You know, right. And they started to earlier this year. Mm-hmm. Until the free world had different plans.
So tell us, what's Maddies' involvement with the project? Like, you know, is she going along with you on a lot of these adventures of making people smile? Tell us a little bit about that.
So, you know, obviously right now it's slightly different because she happens to fall in an insanely high risk category. But yeah, I would say on some level, she probably was involved in about a third. I don't think more than that because she just finished school. So depending on the timing of things and when we would do things, it didn't always work out because if you're in school from 8 to 3 o'clock, then it didn't work with her schedule. But yet, you know, it's amazing sometimes, you know, outside of doing random acts of kindness and just really trying to promote the overall love and things that I've seen in her life to give to others. I shoot videos with her. And again, you know, I say nonverbal, and I said earlier it's babble. Mm-hmm. She can say a couple of words. You know, she can say yes. She can say no. She says potty. You know, as a 21-year-old girl still tells us that she has to go potty. But so I ask her a lot of times, hey, do you want to go on the back deck and do you want to dance and shoot a video? And she'll go, yeah. So, you know, yeah. And I try to give her that input. Hey, Daddy has to go give away balloons. Do you want to go hold the balloons? Because even though she's nonverbal, she understands. Mm-hmm. She comprehends. You know, so it's she doesn't have a high level of intelligence, but yet she does understand what I'm saying. So I do ask her questions and want to know if she's one to involved. And, you know, so if it means, hey, Daddy wants to go downtown and shoot a video in front of the riverboat, you want to go? Yeah. And I'm like, all right, let's get in the car and go. And we get in the car. Hey, do you want to dance? Yeah. You know, and then we put music on and, you know, and then I tell you what, man, every time I seem to look over, I don't know when she's not smiling.
Yeah.
It's
with your energy
crazy.
and the way you ask, how could she not say yeah?
Well, yeah, I'd love to think that, but she's also, hey, for any woman listening out there, don't take this the wrong way, but she is a 21-year-old female. I mean, and I do have other kids. I've got a 19 and 23-year-old daughter, and trust me, they act their age. So.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's all good, but it is. It's again, she is.
Who?
You kind of froze there for a moment, brother.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
You there?
Yep. They'll fix that.
You froze up for a hot minute. Okay.
Yeah. We're good.
Okay.
I think we can probably. Yep. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
All right. You want to keep going, or we can wrap it up?
Yeah, I'm on your time, my friend. I'm on your time.
All right. Let's. I think it's a good place to start. They'll have to kind of fix the editing a little bit there, but
yeah, it's all good.
All right. Let's wrap it up, and then we'll give you some plug time, just to make sure how people can get involved, how they can find you, how they can contribute, how they can all that good stuff. All right. Hey, Michael, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Really appreciate you coming on today. Before we let you go, just tell the people that are listening where they can connect with you, where they can find out more about your mission, and how they can maybe get involved.
So one of the first places you can go is smileprojectlouisville.com. One of the nice things about our site, it really just has everything from all the platforms. So even if you're not on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, on any of the socials, if you go there, all of that content that I put on there just uploads directly there. You can follow me as Michael Ray on LinkedIn if you want to. Some of the stuff is a little bit different. There's opportunities, and what I'm trying to create too is the ability to touch people's lives virtually, even outside of Louisville right now. So there is a Get Involved tab. So if this touches you in some form or fashion that you think that we need to deliver smiles to people, hit that Get Involved tab. Tell us who you are. Tell us who they are, and why do you think that in some form or fashion we need to, in that moment, make a difference in their life, and we'll look to make it happen.
All right. Awesome. Thanks so much. If you're listening to the podcast, please subscribe, share with your friends, and also give us your feedback. We are listening. The show is all about you.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Monster Chats, presented by Monster VoIP, where we share the tools, methods, and best practices that business leaders use to build new connections, strengthen relationships, and impact sales in organizations of all shapes and sizes. If you have any questions from today's show and want to reach us directly, please text your question to 424-378-6966.